Lancaster County Paul Olson, and he originally taught at UNL. He's Professor Emeritus at UNL now, and he has come to talk to us about the anti-bullying legislation that's pending in the state unicameral. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Paul, what brought you to this state? Are you originally from here, or?
Yeah, my ancestors are Nebraskans. They came in the 1870s and 1880s to Shickley and Wausau, and my parents lived in Wahoo. I'm a Nebraskan.
Oh, well, good, good. And so tell us, what was some of your interest in getting involved with this anti-bullying bill?
Well, I was bullied myself as a kid, and I didn't like it. I didn't know that it was bullying, and I imagine that I also bullied other kids. In any case, violence in the schools was a pretty unpleasant experience for me. The immediate precipitating factor was the death of my first wife, who was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 1997, and during the last couple of years of her life was increasingly concerned that we were developing a culture of violence among youth, that she had been head of Nebraskans for Peace, and she was very much a peacemaker. And she felt unless we did something to educate our young people to a culture of understanding, mediation, something other than violence, we had very little hope either at the immediate personal level or at the national level or at the international level as a race, as a people.
So you see a connection between what we experience in the schoolyard and in the classroom to what happens later in life and the decisions that we make either as citizens through our vote or our political activism or lack thereof.
Oh, I certainly do. There's a lot of research evidence, for instance, that people who are bullies in school join gangs, participate in urban violence, are domestic abusers. There's also a lot of evidence that people who have a history of resorting to violence as a way of settling problems believe in that at every level. They believe it at the international level, they believe in it at the national level, and they believe in it at the personal level. I don't think there's any question about that. We have good research at the domestic violence and at the gang level. We don't have such good research internationally. Mm-hmm. But if you read the histories of people who really have profound faith in militarism, often they're either bullies or they're victims of bullying.
Now, I suppose they're also victims of a very violent home life as well.
Of course, yeah. Those domestic abuse and bullying go together. I mean, it isn't as if what we're proposing in the legislature is going to be an easy panacea. Mm-hmm. We can certainly do something. We can reduce bullying by about a half, which is what they've done in Norway and what they've done in the state of Washington and Oregon. Mm-hmm. We probably want to eliminate all of it because children come to school having seen their mothers half killed by aggressive fathers or aggressive other domestic partners. And we obviously have to work on that issue too. And I think we're at least doing some pretty good efforts in that area in Nebraska.
Could you describe to us this anti-bullying bill? Is it called LB 627?
Well, the present bill that's before the legislature is LB 627. It's likely, Senator Howard is likely to propose the bill, and I'm not writing the bill for her, so I don't control what it says. But the likely developments in the bill are, first of all, the bill in the past has not had a funding attachment, and school boards and principals and superintendents have been concerned that this is a unfunded mandate. Now, school systems that have had really serious problems, and several of them have had kids who have committed suicide or kids who have been killed as a consequence of bullying stuff, they are much more willing to say, we got to do something even if we don't have state funding for it. And the 200 of the 600 school buildings in the state have done something and are doing pretty serious effort. So the new bill will have funding, we believe. The present bill makes a definition of bullying requires every school system to develop a bullying policy and to enforce that policy. Within the new bill will add funding. It will probably follow the Washington bill, which includes a requirement that school staffs train themselves in definitions of bullying so everyone has the same understanding what bullying is. A record-keeping system, which means that you keep track of kids and episodes where kids are knocked around by other kids. And finally, that you have a serious intervention strategy. And though the State Department now has a pretty good policy, that policy doesn't have any teeth. So the new bill would include some teeth.
Good, very good. And so you have worked with quite a number of groups before we started the interview. Could you tell us some of the groups that you've worked with on going and bringing this coalition together for this?
Well, the coalition is by no means complete, but groups representing minorities, representing the handicapped, representing the medical community, representing the emotionally disabled children, representing special ed kids, people that are in the so-called reconciling community across the state. All of these people have offered gay, lesbian people, people from really, the people that are, you know what kinds of kids are marginalized in the schools and are beaten up on, kids that are too smart, kids that are not particularly able in the schools. Groups representing almost all those people, those children, have said, yeah, we got to do something, and they're coming to our help.
Well, that's good.
And also some of the school groups. The Nebraska State Education Association has supported us in the past, and my assumption is that they will in the future also.
Good, very good.